Welcome back. Cosatu in Gauteng has called on residents and workers to ignore e-toll bills. However, Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula has come out saying e-tolls are here to stay for now. He reiterated that roads must be maintained and this costs money, so the e-toll system can't be scrapped. This morning, Gauteng Transport and Roads MEC Jacob Mamabolo and OUTA's CEO Wayne Duvenage joined us now in studio to discuss the e-toll saga. Thank you both very much for your time. We do appreciate it. I think, MEC, let's start with you. We understand that the Gauteng Transport has come out to say that e-tolls should be scrapped. Why have they still not been scrapped?
Well, firstly, good day to you, to all the viewers, and of course to Wayne. And thanks for the opportunity. Let me just restate officially the position of the provincial government of Gauteng, united with all the people. We have clearly said e-tolls must be scrapped. We still stand by that position. Nothing has changed in our position. We're actually firm on that. The reason why they have not been scrapped, of course, as we always said, this is a matter within the purview of national government. And as everybody is aware, Minister of Transport, Honorable Mbalula, has clearly said an announcement will be made, and that's where we are.
Wayne, speak to us about why you think e-tolls have not been scrapped, given the fact that only 15% of Gauteng motorists are paying for this.
Well, we can't understand why not. You know, they have introduced other mechanisms already. Treasury does fund SANRAL. They've already pumped 11 billion rand into SANRAL for the GFIP construction over the last 5 years. So, you know, the fuel levy feeds into Treasury's coffers, taxes feed in. This is the economic hub of South Africa. 36% of the receipts of Treasury and the fuel levy comes from the small province, 186-kilometre upgrade, which we double paid for, by the way. So the mind boggles as to why government continues to keep this system on. But in actual fact, our view is that the people have spoken. Only 15%, mainly corporates, a few government departments, not all government departments pay, by the way, and the car rental companies that are paying are making money out of it. So you can understand why they haven't kicked the bucket on e-toll. So the people have spoken. The scheme is defunct. It's barely covering the administration costs as far as we're concerned. Whether the lights stay on or not, it's not working.
Wayne, I'm going to stick with you. Do you think government is not being honest about its decision? And I'll tell you why I'm asking this. We were with the Minister of Transport a few days ago when he launched the driving licence centres in Gauteng. And he said that it's almost as though Cabinet is divided on the decision. And it's got a lot to do with the debts that e-tolls has brought about because of non-payments. Do you think that government's just not being honest about its decision and why it's not clear to say we are scrapping or we are sticking with e-tolls?
Well, the debt is not an issue, and I'll tell you why. The e-toll, the financing debt, the bond debt is there. It's a government guaranteed debt, and we have to finance it. Infrastructure doesn't fall out of the sky. It comes off our taxes. We have to pay for it. But there are other ways to fund this. And so we believe that they're not being honest or they don't understand the implications. At one stage, they were telling us that the contracts are too expensive to cancel, but the contracts have expired already 2 years ago. We're now into nearly its 8th year. So there's no contractual costs. All they're paying for now, the 50 million rand they're getting a month roughly, is going in towards the collection costs. So if you scrapped the scheme and took the collection costs away, government loses nothing. They stand to gain because the public now don't have to waste their time and money on the scheme. So, you know, we just cannot understand what the reason is, other than we think that there are a number of suppliers, service providers to the ETC system that are enjoying some of the money that comes off the 50 million rand a month. That's the only explanation we have.
Sure. MEC, speak to us about why. I mean, you sit in these discussions, you sit in these meetings. The Gauteng Transport has come out to say, we should go away with e-tolls. What is the conversation like when you sit in those meetings and you say it serves no purpose? There are other ways to service roads. There are other ways to maintain roads.
Well, I think for us as the provincial government, we are very clear on that issue. And I think what is important is to give national government the opportunity to make the announcement which we are all awaiting. For us as the province, the type of conversations we are having are essentially about, demonstrating why this system should be scrapped. And one point we have made very clear is that the Gauteng province is extremely tolled. If you just look at the traditional, conventional toll gates, and on top of that, within a short space of time, you have got e-tolls, and the traditional toll gates are on national roads. They are paid by everybody who passes on those roads. On those toll gates, everybody pays. But just immediately after that, same national roads, there's a misalignment. The burden is on the provincial province residents. Secondly, the cost is too high. Statistics South Africa has done a study on the cost of living in the province. We have done a study through CSIR, and it indicates this is impacting households quite severely. The other issue we're making is the user pay principle itself is not being followed, because there are people in neighboring states, neighboring provinces who are clearly not paying for e-tolls. So to that extent, even the revenue generation, the e-tolls have completely, since they started, missed their targets to generate revenue. So in all respects, the conversations we are having is, even the original idea of the model, there was not even proper risk analysis that was done, because otherwise, how did they hope they were going to enforce this? So from a risk analysis, conditions in South Africa, the model was completely wrong. So to that point, we are saying to national government, there is no reason to still keep this. And that's why we made a submission and said, there are following options to generate revenue, to finance expansion of the roads, maintain the roads. The e-tolls are not working. So those people who are arguing that there's something to pay for, e-tolls are not paying for that. They've never paid for it. They are not going to pay for it. Yeah. So we're very clear, and I'm very much pleased that all of us in the province are firmly united in our conversations on the scrapping of e-tolls.
Okay, MEC, we have our reporter on standby who actually got a chance to speak to some motorists. But before I get to her, I just want to ask you, you're saying that you've made it very clear that e-tolls should be scrapped. The province has made it very clear. The Premier has come out to say it should be scrapped. It's almost as though the Minister of Transport just the other day said the same thing, that if it was up to him, it would have also been scrapped. Why are they not listening?
Let me just add that, just 2 weeks, last week actually, the CEO of SANRAL was quoted by a newspaper. I hope he was not quoted out of context, in which he was saying, the fact that there's no decision on this matter, it's a big problem to SANRAL itself. And we agree with him that there must be finality on the matter, because he knows what actually is going on in their space. But for us as a province, finality on the matter means one thing and one thing only, and that is the announcement we have been promised. And so the reason why the decision is not being made, I must also be very careful not to encroach into that space. As we said, the matter is with national government. But we have got a legitimate expectation. We are a democratic government. We're based on the will of the people. The people of Gauteng, all of them, have spoken. And what really we will appreciate is that the voice of the people of Gauteng with their government, and even the municipalities, should be heard. And that is the expectation that we have.
Let's actually listen to the will of the people. We have our reporter Mamabolo on standby. Mamabolo, you were out and about today speaking to some motorists. What is the sense? We know that this has been an issue for years, saying they're going to scrap e-tolls, they're not going to scrap e-tolls. Many actually adhering to the payment of e-tolls. What are you hearing from motorists?
Well, Heidi, quite simply put, really, most people here are saying that they don't even want to pay e-tolls. Most of them saying that they haven't even tried because they feel like there is no need for the e-tolls. Some of them even highlighting the fact that there are toll roads and they have paid other tolls. What is the significance of e-tolls? Also others just highlighting that they heard from the finance minister who was speaking about the fact that more money is being lost into the system. Why is it that they have to pay more? Others even were saying that there has been issues issues on the roads. Some roads have not been fixed. That money could be going or directed to attending to those issues that people are faced with. It doesn't have to go to e-tolls, but quite clearly saying that they're not for the e-tolls. Some have already started paying, but most of them also saying that they don't understand. All they want is for the e-tolls to be gone. But let's listen into some of those people that we spoke to a little earlier.
I feel like they are okay. They help with the maintenance of the roads. Yeah, so yeah.
Oh my goodness, is that conversation still happening? It just needs to end. Like, we can't pay. Already a lot is happening. We can't. They must just shut it. We're not going to pay. I haven't been paying it, and yeah.
Simply put, they should stop stealing, then we'll consider paying. Nothing more.
To be the last person to pay.
What would you like the province to do about e-tolls?
They must scrap it. They must just scrap it. E-toll found these roads here. They must build their own roads and let people pay. But if they found the roads here, then it's not going to work.
E-tolls are literally, I feel like it's a waste of money. It's a waste of money, like people shouldn't be paying to drive, we're really paying for fuel.
Rather spend money on development of for agriculture and social development of housing as well. So that's more important, where they should spend money instead of per 1 rand out of 1 cent out of a rand getting spent on foreign companies.
I think these guys should just let it go, because obviously if everyone else is saying let it go, there's disadvantages probably.
It really does affect our work, and those things are not good.
Nah, e-toll, no, they must be taken out, the e-tolls. But they won't affect my vote. I'll still vote.
E-tolls?
Yes.
Dude, I've never had e-toll ever since I started driving. I don't know, they should just scrap all the thing, man. It's not working. Even the government is not making the revenue that they're supposed to be making out of the e-tolls.
I feel they're very unnecessary, and I really don't see any relevancy about e-tolls. Reason being, people are already getting taxed anyways. People are already paying for toll gates, either than paying for whatever e-tolls or whatever they call it. So I really feel they're very unnecessary.
I have nothing to feel, because actually I don't know what's happening. So maybe you can explain to me first how.
I mean, obviously they do, eh? Yeah, I mean, it's sickening, really. Yeah, that's just how I feel about it.
I don't think I heard one person say that each e-toll should pay, and they are paying for e-tolls.
Yeah.
Yes,
can I just make a point? There's another voice. I mean, that's overwhelming. The people are very clear, but there's another voice we must not forget. The commuter who depend on public transport. Because just 2 weeks ago, I asked the leadership of the taxi industry in the province to just clarify their position with regard to e-tolls. Have they applied for exemptions and what happened? And they were very clear. Taxis are not exempted. So if there's any cost that they have to accumulate, obviously they'll pass it over to the commuters. And most of the commuters stay outside the main commercial and industrial nodes. Kids travel long distances because people going to school on scholar transport, using the backyard routes because they can't use the highway. Public transport is not exempted. So the distance that could be traveled quick and fast, workers going to work, you arrive there late, you arrive home late, because they can't go to these highways because they're trying to duck and avoid the toll gate. So it is actually not working for anyone. So I was just saying, in addition to the voice of the motorist, we must also remember about the commuters that are using public transport that is not even exempted because they did not apply. And the systems and the management, the administration of the whole e-toll system is not also efficient. So that's just the voice I wanted to add to.
Yeah, Wayne, I just, if you can pick up from what the MEC said, but I just want to add on an important aspect that sometimes we forget with e-tolls. There are motorists that are paying for e-tolls. And what should happen if the e-tolls are scrapped? For years of these motorists that have been paying for the e-tolls. And also there was an important point that one of the motorists mentioned was the fact that government is not even making the money that they were hoping to make from e-tolls. So what's the point?
Well, exactly. I think, first of all, those who have been paying, they decided not to take the risk. The 85% of people who aren't paying took the risk, and the risk was that they were going to be summoned, they were going to be blacklisted, they were going to be arrested. All of those were the threats that were put on us by SANRAL, and we took the risk and said, then come, we'll defend motorists if that happens. And so those of you who've been paying, you're not going to get your money back. SANRAL doesn't have the money, and they don't have to refund you. So your money is best in your bank account than in SANRAL's, quite frankly, because they cannot summons you. They've dropped that case. The National Credit Act and the credit regulator said you cannot blacklist people, so there's no enforcement mechanism. But I just want to point out to the MEC as well that SANRAL and the government did grant free passage to the public sector, transport sector and the taxis, but they just refused to sign up. That's how poor the system was. It just wasn't even able to administer those who were given free passage. So it is a defunct scheme. But if we roll back right to 2011 and 2012, when the public outroar came and the scheme was only switched on in 2013, we sat with the Premier at the time, Nomvula Mokonyane, and the Secretary General, Gwedi Mantashe, and explained what was going to happen. That, as the MEC says, poorly researched, was always going to fail. The public didn't back the scheme, and they went ahead anyway. And SANRAL now to say, well, the government must scrap it, they were the ones that did the research. They were the ones that sold it to Jeff Radebe, the Minister of Transport at the time. They were passionate that the scheme was going to work, and we told them, well, it was going to fail. So they need to take the blame, and somebody needs to bring about the independent investigation into this, because the e-toll scheme was given to ETC initially at 6.5 billion rand for 5 years. When they signed the contract, it was 9.8 billion. There's a lot of corruption, or there's a lot of questions that haven't been answered. The road should have cost not more than 9 billion rand to upgrade. They cost 18 billion. Nobody is looking at that. That's the issue here. And we call on the Minister, if he's serious about this matter, and the Department of Treasury, look into what happened, because there was a lot of money that should not have been paid, and we are now sitting with this debt.
Sure, yeah, it's all about following the money. MEC, let's just close with you. Are you worried that this is going to be a factor that Gauteng residents consider when voting come 1st of November?
Well, let me say that what I think the good thing about the residents of Gauteng, government, and of course I'm thinking in this case the ANC-led alliance that marched to the union buildings, is that there's unity on this issue. And if there were to be electoral decisions to be made by the people in the context of their right to choose a political party, we believe that at least in this province, it's well known we are all united on the issue. So I don't think that matter should come negatively on that. In actual fact, the unity that's there, it's important. The issue for me is, I think, what worries me actually most is the cost of not resolving this issue. Again, agreeing with the CEO of SANRAL, because there is a cost to not making this type of a decision, because you know, the roads are deteriorating. There's not enough money. We need to expand roads. There's a matter hanging on the heads of all of us, and I'm quite sure it has got costs as well. It has got cost implications, because even the contractual obligations, the interest rates and all that could actually be growing with inflation and all that. So we've got to deal with this matter and deal with it once and for all and complete it. So that's why my worry is the sustained you know, fact that the decision is not being made on the issue. That is deeply, deeply concerning to me. We need finality on the issue, and we need it now, because there is a cost to not making this decision, and that cost will catch with us very soon in the near future.
Well, the Minister of Transport said that in the next 2 cabinet meetings a decision will be made. MEC, on a lighter note.
Lighter note, that's worrying. Lighter note is always worrying. Let's hear.
I want to know what's in your notebook. Are all the secrets in there? Because you hold that book with your life. And the people on Twitter want to know what's in that book.
The decision
Can we take it? I'll make an announcement on the matter in due course.
Okay, great.
On a lighter note.
Thank you so much. That was MEC for Roads and Transport, Jacob Mamabolo, as well as Wayne Duvenage from OUTA.